Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your one and only Castle Marquise. I'm sorry, I'm in mid laughter right now because as I was doing a story, you know what I'm saying, that was very, very tragic. I remember, like my alcoholic years, and well, I was a functional alcoholic, and I was really just acting out and everything else. This is the stuff you learn in AA, which is the 12-step program, the 12 traditions, and everything else, and which I'd never been to AA as a client or a person that needed it. I've actually been somebody's sponsor because I did this Algernon system. That was years later, and I actually help people with drug addiction in AA. Almost any type of addiction that you can, because the 12 steps and the 12 traditions and everything applies, and it crosses over. So, little story about myself, I guess. But as I was thinking about it, I thought about how I even found out about NA and AA. So, I used to have this homeboy named Taun Taun. Taun Taun, dark-skinned dude, cool dude, really, but, he was just woman crazy, but he was kind of like searching for the right girl, but at the same time, he would accept Miss Right Now type thing, so he can have him some relations. Sure, we're gonna have relations. Oh, we're gonna have relations. You know what I'm saying? That was just how he was. You know what I mean? He wasn't like no predator or anything. It just, he liked to have relations. Oh, sure, we're gonna have relations. Not just him. So, anyway, in any event, one day, 1 month, we just ain't seen Taun Taun in a while, right? And Taun Taun calls us up, or somehow somebody called somebody, but anyway, we ended up finding out what's up, and he was like, yeah, man, I got a new girl. He was like, hey, man, and she fine, too. He's like, hey, that's what it was. It was a barbecue. It was Labor Day weekend, now that I think about it. Yes, it was a Labor Day weekend, and Taun Taun was like, yeah, what's up, man? He's like, yeah, I was just, I've been just kicking it with my girl, booed up activity. Which, guys like, I understood, guys that like me understand, like, hey, yeah, when we get girls, we get different because, it's, we doing, it's less things we do with the guys. I mean, we going to schedule guy events, but, it's bouquets. Only like the buster haters, I can't stand them dudes. They be, yeah, see, every time he get a girl, he get different. You know what I'm saying? Act like you don't know nobody. It's just like, you need some love in your life. But anyway, so, he was like, yeah, you're going to take it to the barbecue. Okay, so, boom, she comes to the barbecue, nice girl, looks normal enough and everything. Look kind of familiar, but, I don't say anything. You know what I mean? Well-mannered, everything else. And, she's drinking her little, punch and everything. And that was that. Noticed that she didn't indulge in any alcohol, didn't drink anything. But, hey, some people just don't drink. You know what I mean? That's their prerogative. Cool. Hey, no, I don't look at you weird. I ain't going to force nothing down your throat. It's what it is what it is. Pause on that there. You little nasties. So, anyway, next thing you know, another event comes out. Taun Taun got another girl. Bad. You know what I'm saying? And during the event, I'm like, yo, what happened to the, we kind of get a moment that we, pull him to the side. I'm like, yo, what happened to, the shorty was at, that was, he's like, oh, yeah, her, man, whatever, man. I got a new one, man. I got a new watering hole, bro. You never believe I'm getting all these girls there. And, we like, well, what's up? Like, where you getting them at? He was like, man, you got to guess, man. I ain't giving this up. You know what I'm saying? All I can tell you is it's a place where everybody goes, but don't nobody knows. I'm like, everybody goes, but don't nobody knows. What did you talking about? He was like, guess. I was like, all right, church? He was like, nope, it ain't church. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, you know him from the work at the job? No. See, you think it's too small-minded. I'm like, so then we just was like, after hours of playing this game, you know, he was like, I go to AA. I'm like, you go to AA? I'm like, why in the world would you go to AA? Like, what? Like, what? And he's like, man, what happened was his homie from work got, you know, some DUIs and everything else, and that they had to sign up for AA. He didn't want to go by himself, so
please enter your password, then press pound. Please enter your password, then press pound.
Decided to.
Please enter your password,
Oh,
then press pound.
I swear to God. Whew, the emergency line.
Unfortunately, the system cannot process your entries. Please try again later.
I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, that's the good watch. You know, I forget sometimes, like, that's a whole telephone. It's a whole emergency line. Anyway, so back to the story. So Taun Taun's homeboy has to do AA. You know what I'm saying? Because he done got a DUI, so he don't want to go alone. So he took Taun Taun with it. So Taun Taun's there, and you know, he filled out the little card, everything else. You know what I'm saying? And what Taun Taun didn't have, like, because, you know, when you're court appointed, you got to fill out a card, and they don't stamp your card to say that you was there until the end of the meeting or whatever. When you're not court appointed, you just coming to go to meetings that, you know, as they call it, work the program. You know what I'm saying? He just, you know, he just starts going to the meeting, everything else. And, you know, he starts seeing some bad chicks in there. And, like, all of them are, you know, trying to get their life back together. They're very open and honest about who they are and what they used to be and, you know, everything else. And, you know, Taun Taun kind of cheap. So, you know, instead of going to the bar, I mean, that chick, she just happy to get, you know what I'm saying? You bring over a case of Coca-Cola, she that's like a bottle of liquor to her. You know, you watch a good movie, everything else, because, you know, some of them is trying to get their life back together. You know what I'm saying? From living a destructive path. And, you know, that was his new watering hole. I'm sorry. And, you know, he even told us, he was like, look, when you go in there, you know what I'm saying? He's like, man, I don't even have to put my real name. He was like, when I go in there, you know what I'm saying? When they ask me, do you want to share anything? Or you got anything, a burning desire to share, something like that? When they get to me and they start looking at me, if they ask, I'd be like, I ain't ready yet. And they respect it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just that. And man, he been pulling girls left and right out of that place. And I know it's so disgusting, but you know what I'm saying? That, you know, I know that women in here already, yeah, that Taun Taun is a piece of, he just taking advantage of them girls. Look, it balanced out in the end. Now, from this one barbecue, we had two different results. With Taun Taun's results, and you had another homeboy who decided he gonna go another way out of this. And you know what Taun Taun failed to mention for the other homeboy is that people that have addictions can sometimes have relapses. And he decided he wasn't gonna go step on Taun Taun's foot. He was gonna go this other homeboy, who I'm not mentioning for a good reason. He gonna go and not step on Taun Taun's foot, but he gonna go to NA, Narcotic Anonymous, and you know, there's a couple of chicks in there who, you know, Zanny heads and, you know, the Oxy, yeah, they still look good, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it ain't beat them now, but sometimes they can relapse. And straight up and down, he went with a Zanny head, and that Zanny head, she relapsed and took all his stuff. Destroyed him. It was bad. When I mean, like, literally came home to an apartment full of nothing. Like, where's my apartment? Crazy. And as for Taun Taun, you know, not all of them. So please, no offense to these people. I don't mean to offend nobody, but not all of them. But some of them, some of these, depending on which division or chapter you're in or whatever, you know, they're sometimes attached to a church. And those churches tend to sometimes give cult-like vibes. So he just so happened to, started dating a couple of chicks, and the ones that were really, really down, we really, really liked, they was cool, and everything was good for a time, but when the cult-like vibes came through, it was just like, yeah, he knew good and well he couldn't get down with that. It was bad, Like and the moral of the story is everybody has to submit to something. You are going to submit to something. But just like in the 12-step program, I'd rather submit to a higher power than my untapped or unregistered or undealt with emotions that are just a form of me acting out. Boy, Casval Marquise, I'm holla at you. Peace.